Okay, so again, here tonight with us is Sumedha, the newest member of our monastic community, and she has just finished the foundation and advanced courses. What does that mean? The foundation course is a course for someone who is new to this tradition. In general, you'd say someone who is new to the Mahasi Sayadaw tradition. So if someone had practiced in the Mahasi Sayadaw tradition already, we'd kind of accelerate the foundation course. But if someone hasn't practiced in the school that we follow of Ajahn Tong, then we'll put them through some sort of foundation course, but we might accelerate it and call it an intermediate course if they have practiced the same sort of tradition and the same sort of technique. Now in Sumedha's case, she's practiced in other traditions before, but I think never done a formal course in this tradition. And so she got a almost full foundation course, and in fact it was quicker than normal because she's practiced meditation for many years. And the advanced course is basically a repeat of the foundation course, but it's only, the foundation course generally takes 15 to 20 days to complete. The advanced course only takes 10 days, and you skip some of the beginning stages because the meditator is assumed to have already become accomplished in at least the basic stages. And so she's done both of those, and that's really the curriculum that we have. And at this point, the meditator will continue on with advanced course after advanced course at their convenience. So we do 10-day by 10-day courses. And there are other things that can be done over the long term, but in general, that's how it goes. So what I want to ask tonight, first maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background and what got you interested in meditation and Buddhism, and a little bit about, just briefly about the courses that you've gone through.
I suppose I picked up a Buddhist book somehow along the line around 2006, and sparked some interest in meditation, but then it wasn't until I was living in Vancouver, British Columbia, and my housemates had all sat Goenka courses. And they said, "Oh, you should go. It's wonderful, or you'll learn how to deal with pain." And then one of the housemates ended up going and saying it was quite humbling, and so I signed myself up, and I thought I was quite happy going into the course, and got there and I was very humbled and found my levels of contentment when I was stripped of all of my artistic allowances. I've been a painter, so I wasn't allowed to paint. I wasn't allowed to, I guess at that point I was drinking and smoking quite regularly, so that was taken out. And just eating after noon. What else? Sleeping when I want to. The pain of sitting compounds everything. I guess it's about 10 hours a day with the Goenka tradition. And the technique, like this one, just is an emotional exfoliator. So it, on top of taking all the comforts of daily life out, it brings all of the stuff that I had been distracting myself with, with the sensual pleasures. So after sitting that first course, I felt like I should really meditate and stay at centers until I can really find a sense of contentment with being stripped down of all those allowances of art and music and socializing, I guess extroverting in general, just finding contentment from within. And so I just kept sitting course after course, I guess about maybe 8 or 10 Goenka courses, plus some. I just went out, and Goenka says you can, once you know the timetable, it's pretty simple. You just go and you can sit self-courses. So I went out and sat some in the forest, and one fellow meditator allowed me to sit on her property in Hawaii, and then I tried to sit a bit longer, which is not really okay in the Goenka tradition, to sit over 10 days by yourself. But I had my friend drop me off somewhere where I couldn't really go back on the plan. And it was storm season, so it was hurricane force winds, and I was stuck out in an archipelago, Haida. It's like 100 kilometers off the northern coast of British Columbia, and I tried to sit a 20-day course on my own. And a friend had given me a forest tradition book, which is very inspiring, and had actually inspired me to put myself in such a situation. And then I had sat 10-day courses completely alone in the forest before. I had no problem, but for some reason that going for 20 days was really, really difficult. I was having a hard time getting out of my sleeping bag in the morning. I was having...
You were also doing fasting, was it?
And I decided to eat, like just collect seaweed off the shore and dry it out and eat that.
Wow.
And popcorn to clean out the system. And eventually I started adding stuff, but the problem was I fasted for a couple of days in the middle of the course. I had been really taking very little food, and then I fasted, and I think I might have drank a bunch of salt water, like a gallon or something. And then I ate some like quinoa or lentils or something. And I felt like Superwoman, and I thought, okay, I'm going to the cave now. And so I set out with my backpack, and the sun had come out, and it had been so wet. No one lives on the west coast of Haida because it's so wet, and the elements. It's the longest stretch of untouched forest, so the Jurassic nature of it is great for meditation, I guess, powerful, but it's relentless with its weather. It just the wind gets the rain vertical and upside down. It was puddling inside the door somehow, shaking the cabin with the winds actually.
And in the end, did you stay the 20 days?
Well, I ended up getting stuck out there for 26 because of the storms, and I really felt like I that was the longest time of my life. I've had near-death experiences, but that was the most drawn-out feeling like I might die out here, because I ran out of firewood and ran out of gas in the chainsaw. And then I was feeling like I can't live in the forest anymore because I couldn't. I was bucking wood, and I couldn't handle killing the moss. And I had been farming, and I thought of all the weeds and all the weeds I'd been killing, and I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. And then when I set out for the cave, I was, I had been warned that there was landslides along the coast, but I got myself into 2 landslides, and the fear, it just was very humbling of an ego. I guess my ego got crushed with nature, like the entire forest. I didn't understand exactly what a landslide was up close and personal and how to get through it. But I ended up somehow, thankfully, getting back to the cabin alive, and was reading the Bhikkhu Bodhi's discourses, and had never actually read like a translation of just, straight sort of translation of the discourses. I had only really heard it through Grenko, which is great, but it's not the same. And I think it cut through a lot of layers of delusion and really made me consider like what's the best way I can spend my time. I had been planning to start a meditation center up there. And bring teachers there and run it off the grid, and a yoga center, meditation center,
And this, you'd mentioned that this was a sort of a turning point where you realized that you needed to do this kind of thing under a teacher,
right?
In the beginning,
because my mind, I had, I would read like the suttas or the Acharya Mun's biography, and I'd feel so inspired, incredibly inspired, and then I would sit, and my whole body just hurt. And I'd never had like a recent course at that point. It had been about 3 years of sitting, or maybe 2 years of sitting, 3 years of sitting. And it had been a long time since I had just, the entire course, like scanning the body, like just every part of it seemed to hurt. And metta was out of the question. It was just, I was so agitated. And I was so, my mind was ruthless with trying to get away with things, just not, daydreaming pretty much. And I thought, if I have a teacher that can read my mind, I can't get away with this. And then I thought, well, even if I don't have a teacher that can read my mind, if I'm in robes, I don't think there's any way I'm going to really let myself mess around, because that's, I have so much respect for the Buddha's work, and like there wouldn't be, such requisites available. Maybe there would be in another way, but.
So that was the time when you also thought that you wanted to ordain, where it hit you. Also reading Ajahn Mun's biography.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what led you to our center?
Palañani.
You went to Aranya Bodhi, and
I met Palañani.
This is where you, in your efforts to find a place to ordain.
Yeah, okay. I thought, I go. I think I actually decided when I was out there I should go to the monastery in California, and I'd heard of the nunnery. I thought I'll get some direction for Thailand there.
Mm. So your intention was to go to Thailand?
Yeah, I had I had no idea that it was at all even somewhat difficult to ordain as a female monk, or even a nun. I had no idea that there was any sort of controversy at all. I went to Birkham Monastery on the way down, and the abbot...
To see if you could ordain there?
No, just to ask for his advice.
I see.
And he said, there's actually a buffet of ordinations that you can choose from.
Oh, really?
He had one lady who went, I guess 10 years ago, to be a Mechi Quinn. Quinn, I think. And I don't know where she's at, but a fellow meditator there said she'd actually met her and said she was having a hard time. And the general feeling I got was that the Mechi life was not easy, and it was not... people weren't exactly liking it so much. And what really kind of... and I wasn't really feeling the Mechi too much, but, I'd rather be a Mechi than a layperson, I think. And then one of the Ajahns at Wat Pah Nanachat, when I told him that I was thinking of ordaining at Wat Pah Pong, he said, I don't think that's a good idea. I think you'll get disheartened. And maybe that's because they do a lot of work there. And I feel extremely grateful that Palañani invited me here and gave me a little bit of warning, because she's actually been a Mechi herself as well, and she's been through the ropes.
What do you think of Sri Lanka, the country, so far?
I think it's. I haven't seen much of it, but being here, for some reason, I feel at home. But I've been living on a lot of islands. Like this island actually kind of reminds me a bit of a Buddhist version of Puerto Rico. I was living on Puerto Rico.
I know the feeling of the island. I was born on an island, and it's amazing to have the same feelings come back here. Hey, you realize that there is something to being on an island.
Yeah, it makes a bit of solidarity or homogeneity.
This is also true. Okay, but let's skip ahead a little bit to what I'm really interested in is something quite specific, and I want to pull it out of context. So, what the question is a very simple question. What do you think, or how do you feel you have benefited from this course? And what I mean by pulling it out of context is I'd like you to just talk about this course and not compare it to your other courses in speech, not compare it to your other courses at all. If the benefits you gained, some of the benefits you gained were the same as other courses, just talk about them as the benefits of this course, or if you think there are benefits, which we assume that you think there are some benefits, otherwise you wouldn't still be here. So, how your feeling before you went into this course, how that is different from your feeling afterwards. So it should be specifically about this course, but it could be the same sorts of things you've gained in other courses, which is fine, but only referring to this course.
Well, I mean, I would say that this course did have its special kind of advantage that I could... it's very hard to talk about consciousness, so I guess going into the course I was quite confident, having sat other courses, and that got a bit shattered just with the unknowingness of what I'm getting myself into, which kind of started happening on day one. It's like I get I put in a room with a television of my mind, and it kind of comes back to like contentment levels, and being told to sit there and just I guess flip back. I guess let's see, like the meditation technique here of saying thinking when you're thinking was a real like a knife for the ego's head almost. It just really, as to put it, I don't know if that's a good way to put it.
That sounds like a great way to put it. I'm inspired.
Okay, so
a knife to the ego.
Well, okay, so I can sit there and I feel I guess confident in the sense that like I could easily sit with my mind and watch it, I guess. But like a TV, but it does get annoying after a few days of not sitting on a couch and watching it, or with all your food and drinks and every popcorn. And some of the channels can get quite violent or just agitating as the technique goes on. And this meditation technique was telling me, sitting across the room and saying, now, seeing, say to yourself, seeing, which my mind didn't want to do when it had, and this was a very, I guess a big, the just having the kind of babysitter of not letting myself get away with going along with what was happening. Because I guess I got to a point where I could be with sensations or be with the breath or in some way, but still kind of be enjoying watching the workings of the mind. So I guess my mind kind of threw a fit for a while. The babysitter of the meditation technique, saying, "Now just say thinking, thinking, thinking. Just say scene, scene, scene." Almost kind of like teasing me, like, I have the remote control and I can turn off this TV if you want. I can turn off this radio of your mind, but you're gonna have to practice. And so I guess eventually I gave in, and it's like the room disappears, and I'm, in a great state of mind, like being, out on the West Coast in Haida Gwaii, but that's only so great for a little bit. And then I noticed the babysitter's still there saying, "Scene, scene, scene."
Like when you said to me, you're feeling very happy, and then you hear the babysitter, happy, or calm, was it? Or calm, and you're like, no.
It just
Let me
shatters.
enjoy it.
Shatters everything. It's not that fun anymore to have that overlooking impartiality sit with you. And it's like, why isn't it fun? Why? And I kind of sort of tried to examine myself a bit more, and it's like, well, what's like, I guess, and with the teacher's help, like, it's really just greed, like indulgence. I'm not indulging in, food. I'm not indulging in sleep. I mean, sleep deprived, if anything. But I'm indulging in my mental states and daydreaming. I'm indulging in letting myself think, letting the ego take hold, take reins, and that broke down, I guess, a whole nother level to a state where, what would you call that, cessation? That I don't actually remember, which is interesting. But what has been important for me with meditation is not so much the experience as much as like the effects it has, and the effect coming out of a state that I don't remember, because apparently...
Because memory is impermanent.
Memory is impermanent, and
if there were impermanent, there would be suffering, no?
Right.
And if there's suffering, it's not cessation.
So...
I'm not trying to put words into your mouth. I'm just running commentary. No, go ahead. I'm totally with you. The most important are the results. So if the proof of the pudding is under the crust, what was the benefit, the change, positive or negative, coming out of the course?
Very positive. And just a lot of faith in turning away from even like experiences in the course. I realized I'd been clinging to, oh wow, this is a lot of pain. Oh my gosh, like, whoa, like, what is coming out? Or this, like, the mental states. I don't know, names for different types of mental states, or visions coming in and going, and just making things special. I think one Dhamma talk you said, "This is not that." And when you said it, it didn't hit me like it did, I guess maybe a few days later. It's like, this is not that, because it's no longer, I'm no longer staying in the present moment. If I've had some sort of experience, and I'm still thinking about it, I'm still walking with it, and I'm not saying thinking, and I'm creating more, I'm proliferating myself, really. And so I guess having surrendered to the technique, and I guess experiencing on some level states of cessation and coming out, experiencing the extreme sense of calm and peace, and it's a bit more clarity, I guess. It gives a lot of faith of the danger in proliferating my thoughts and myself and not keeping them in check, not babysitting them. And it gives, a lot of inspiration to keep practicing, I guess.
Wonderful. This, by the way, is the definition the Buddha gave to the word bhikkhu. Bhayangikati iti bhikkhu. Sangsare bhayangikati iti. One who sees the fearsomeness in clinging, in proliferating. In proliferating, really. This is what the word bhikkhu means. So, very well said. As though it were coming from a book. Well, thank you. That was a great thing, and it'll be a great resource for people who are in similar situations and are having similar thoughts, to give them encouragement and help them to make the right choice for their future.